Welcome back to some professional StarCraft 2 with the most creative Terran player out there. In the blue, the Admiral. It's GuMiho. Up against one of the strongest Protoss in all of Europe. From Team Liquid, we have Skillous in a best-of-3 Protoss versus Terran showdown. And while pretty much every match, GuMiho shows us a new original strategy, a new take on the game, the algorithm says there's something to be said about consistency. So I'm just going to start out by begging you to like and subscribe. And Jimmy, what are we... No, you can't cringe. And also, +1. Still +1. 1,501 likes on this video, on this cast, and I'll cast another one. And I'll probably do it anyways. I don't know what else I'd do with my life. But thank you for watching. Hopefully, you've had a good day so far. And hopefully it's about to get just a little bit better. GuMiho scouring for some sort of early proxy. That Reaper sticking around. Looks like he's trying to deny the additional probe skiff. The probe came across, but did he actually... He did not go up the ramp, so he did not see the command center, the factory timing. All these things quite relevant when it comes to formulating an early response, and Skillous, with a Stargate on the way. A bold move in a world of blank stalkers. The Stargate flies above, and sometimes off the map because it just isn't a very strong response to most things. But the Stargate does offer you a lot of options against early Terran tech. There's no easier way to shut down early starport units. It helps out against factory, but of course, pretty much everything out of the Stargate is also very vulnerable to things like mines and cyclones as well. So we'll have to see which direction he takes it. Speaking of that particular devil, we got a medevac and reactor Whittle mines on the way. GuMiho sharking around with his first 2 Hellions and a Reaper joining up, which is a surprisingly dangerous set of units for how simple it is to get out. And what does Skillous have back at home? A picket line of Adepts, another gate on the way, and I don't think you go by that, no. The Adepts, not forming a wall, but the damage you'll take by the time you get by is certainly... This is awkward. I'm just gonna pretend nobody saw that. Alright. Meanwhile, the Adepts coming down trying to chase. Get a lot of damage on one of the Hellions. One of the Shades holding back, trying to box out. Almost kills off one Hellion. First Phoenix scouts and sees the Tech Lab factory. But did he see the medevac on the way? I don't believe so. The Phoenixes are heading back, knowing that something is on the way out. Obviously, that... Citizen's arrest. The probe finishes off the scouting Hellion. And the medevac is spotted by the probe that was going to take a third base. The Whittle mine droppers coming in. He warps in Adepts. And the mines, he will pull the probes on them, but he actually drops it. Oh, no. Oh, no. 5. But wait, there's more. 9 kills. And the Reaper will actually kill the probe and make it an even 10. Double-digit probe kills. He kills the medevac. He kills the mines. But 10 probes is near critical damage for the Protoss this early. You do not want to be behind a Terran and workers when you're on even bases. Mules exist, and they're pretty good from what I hear. Vikings, Cyclone on the way. We're going to do a little bit of ring around the add-ons here as the starport now claiming the reactor. He's going to go reactored Vikings with mag field Cyclones. A direct response to this sort of Stargate play. Phoenixes heading towards the main. Adepts, a whole shade of them into the natural. Meanwhile, Phoenixes working on some of the SCVs. Cyclones whittling away the Adept. Guys, hello? Alright, not the ideal Phoenix micro there. 4 kills so far, though. There's a Whittle mine in the corner, which could do a lot of damage on the way out. Oh, he's trying to push him into it. He succeeds! Big hit. Almost knocks out one of the Phoenixes. Cyclone brings another one very close. And I don't think GuMiho is going to be lending Skillous any SCVs to repair those Phoenixes. So altogether, the damage was done, but let's tally it up. Is that? No time for math. Because we have Mech. GuMiho has taken us to McDonald's against Protoss. Now, early on, mech units are obviously very strong. It's when you get to the higher economy, the 3 base sort of phase of the game, that things get a lot more difficult to maintain. The hardest part of mech is actually getting your production up to the point you can defend a 3rd base. But GuMiho, with his battle mech composition, Viking Cyclone. I'm sure there's a cleverer way to put that, but hopefully we'll find it by the end of this. Widowmine hits the Immortal incidentally. That Immortal, a few Marines tanking damage. The Magfield Cyclones just ripping through everything they can get a hold of. And the Vikings are almost unchallenged in the sky. They might be able to land. They hit the deck and will invade the ground as well. 2 Cyclones, 4 Vikings, and a few Marines looking to participate in the group activity. I'm not sure Colossus is going to be the ideal response either. Wait, he's just... Okay, he lifts it up. Down goes the Cyclone. Another Cyclone going to be targeted by the Stalkers. Knocks out a Phoenix. Stalkers, wait, back on the ground. Here comes the Colossus again. The Vikings up and down they go. Gonna try to fight directly. Why not? Why not? They're still good on the ground against the Colossus. Only GuMiho fighting Colossi on the ground with Vikings. They have bonus damage on the ground to mechanical units. They know their brethren well, I guess. But altogether, in that scrap-filled exchange, what's the damage? GuMiho has a 3rd command center done, as Skillous has his 3rd nexus. 3 more factories on the way. I think GuMiho accomplished what he needed to, which is carving out enough space to get your factories up. Spending 300 more gas to get 5 factories past the point he's already at, on top of continuing production. He's just now getting his armories. He's just now getting that gas from the 3rd base. But Skillous, very notably, was knocked down to a Colossus and like 1 Stalker. So that's not exactly a march across the map sort of unit composition. What are you doing, GuMiho? The Vikings always looking for an opportunity to pillage. He's exploiting the fact that on this map, if you don't have Blink, there's almost no way to chase them into the center. The rocks will block things out. The Zerg rocks on the side have timed out. 8 minutes is the counter, unless there is a Zerg. Thankfully, we got rid of them here, who can actually spread creep to stop them from bleeding out, which is an amusing sort of feature. But the mass factory. So now, in case he wasn't sure before, Skillous is very aware he's dealing with Mech Terran. GuMiho has blasted past the phase of the game that Mech is most vulnerable. If Blink was done, this would be a very bad idea. Blink is halfway there. A Venn diagram scan to keep tabs. That Colossus has to be very careful where it's stepping. And I believe there's some cliffs that the Colossi can actually come down. I think GuMiho might be trying to exploit that. If he right-clicks here, the Colossus will go down the Reaper Cliff and abandon the Stalkers for a few moments, and then the Vikings can take it out. The fact that GuMiho's thinking about that, or even trying to pick these off, is absolutely ridiculous. But incredibly important for Skillous. Blink is about to complete. It's going to be Drilling Claws for Widowmines. This is Battle Mech against Protoss. But again, GuMiho, well, the Colossi trying to hide in the corner. In fact, this one somehow stepping up to the high ground. Mostly a graphical glitch there, but glass cannons, though, indeed. Those Cyclones, incredibly vulnerable on their own. If they're caught in a fight with where the numbers don't favor them, or the position, they'll die instantaneously, especially to Stalkers and Chargelons. But if they're able to skirmish back and forth, that is an ideal scenario for this sort of composition. Wow, look at that army, the Magfield, but he completes the lock. The Blink doesn't break it, and he just wipes out half the Stalkers from downtown. The Stalkers, the survivors will blink in, but the Cyclones are coming up. Oh my. GuMiho understanding. Now, it feels a little weird to me that the lock doesn't break when you blink away. Only if you get out of vision. And GuMiho pre-scanned, so that way, 1, he could see what's behind it, and 2, to make sure the lock completed. And he just ripped those Stalkers apart. And now already the Colossi taking a lot of damage. Not like they're particularly great against this sort of unit composition. There's a fleet beacon that... Did he complete it? Yes! The fleet beacon is lit! As... what do you build? Carriers? Alright. I have no idea. I've never seen this sort of composition, especially on this new patch. But the Nexus will not be happening here. GuMiho going to absolutely obliterate it. Canceled at the last moment. Stalkers trying to deal with the mines. They're serving their purpose of a delaying tactic. And GuMiho's going up to 8 factories. He's got +1 plating. So he's gone for the plating upgrade because 1, mech weapons don't affect Vikings. And 2, mech weapons don't affect the Cyclone lock-on, nor the Widowmine shot, which are both spell damage and go right through armor and do not benefit from weapon upgrades. So, it's not like Hellbats are here to do the damage. They're here to get shot in the face, so that way the Cyclones don't. Oh no! Wait. Oh no, for who? Kinda unclear. Oh, wait, I think Skillous at the end of the day, he baits it in, he knocks out the Colossi, gonna take out an Immortal as well, and he baits another Blink into the Widowmines. Everything in the air is taken out. The Vikings, as well as the Colossi, which technically qualify. A carrier's on the way. Mothership in production against Terran, against Mass Cyclone. I feel like this is Skillous theory crafting here, as this is not a unit composition you might face ever, as GuMiho is probably the only player who will actually attempt it. And so far, he's made a lot of progress. Ooh, lock gets broken, but the Liberators covering each other's backs like a very inefficient action movie. The carriers will arrive in time. And yeah, they're not getting away, right? Oh, well, not if they fly through cannons. Skillous does still have 74 workers, but GuMiho's pretty much maxed out. His army is 14 Cyclones, 14 Hellions, 11 mines, and 4 siege tanks. High-sec auto-tracking is on the way. He's going to do a turret push. Smart servos, transforms those Hellbats. And that's such a biomechanical meat shield out in the way of things. Locks onto the carriers. And he isn't able to take him out in a single lock-on, but it's close. The Mothership is on the field. Time Warp could be incredibly helpful. Active Cloaking should force a scan. But the carriers are actually out of interceptors here. He knocked them all out of the sky with ease. I think the Widowmines had a big hand in that. And the Cyclones still locking onto the carriers. Looking for the Mothership, plunking forward on top of the siege tanks. Cyclones finding a lot of damage. Widowmines taking big bites on the way out. But Skillous is able to drive this back. He doesn't have detection for the mines, though. Oh, trying to move some more in. Observers on the way. There's no observers on the map. He can't fight here. His carrier could die to a Widowmine. GuMiho just keeping tabs. He has 6 orbital commands. He got so much map control. He now has the gold base. The incomes are relatively even. But right now, GuMiho is 100% dictating the pace of this game as Skillous is trying to tailor his unit composition. You gotta be real careful with those interceptors. Recalling back to the natural, but there's another army to the left flank. If he still has the Mothership, he can use it to recall the army back. The Gateway army at the natural. More charge lots coming in. Cyclone almost takes it out. The Mothership, that is. Fighting with Stalkers, but Hellbats brawling it out. +2 on the Stalkers against 1-2 on the Cyclones and Hellbats. Unclear who's flanking who. The Cyclones playing ring around the Hellbats. The Hellbats just try to participate in the group activity. They get into the natural. Blue Flame will incinerate the probes. GuMiho flanks with the Widowmines. Knocks a carrier out of the sky, but he does end up losing his planetary fortress. The natural, he loses 10 probes to Hellbats. What year is it? Missile turret with high-sec auto-tracking softens things up. Oh no. More Cyclones. Knocks out 1 carrier. Make that 2. Mothership vulnerable as well. Hellbats also left out to dry, but that's, you know, their lot in life. Widowmine scattered throughout. Hellbat drop from the top left corner. The survivors of earlier. The Mothership still finding a lot of value here. Somehow GuMiho hasn't been able to take it out. Stalkers behind the mineral line. The middle base was taken down, and GuMiho is actually on the back foot for now. But the Cyclones, a whirlwind of destruction, and the Vikings have been added on as well. Where are the scans from GuMiho to try to chase this down? He's just knocking the interceptors out of the sky. These Stalkers are still picking off several of the SCVs, but the planetary has range and will actually take out the Stalkers, which is heartily amusing here. The Hellions will finish them off. 22 SCVs dead. Another planetary completes. GuMiho down to 59 workers, but his army supply is massive. Down goes another immortal. Locks onto a carrier. Vikings on the chase. What a brawl across the entire map. And it felt like Skillous for a moment might be able to turn it around. He has so much gas. He does have a Templar Archives. No Storm, but Archons. Well, I don't know how good Archons are going to be against Cyclones, but he does have 2,000 gas and not very many minerals. I think he just noticed that. He starts Psionic Storm. Oh, recall. Oh, that could be a disaster. Oh, no. Oh, no, that was a mistake. Oh, he just dunked it off the rim right there. He loses the mothership. He loses a carrier. The Vikings knock it out. And in the natural, 20 probes immolated by Hellions. I don't even think GuMiho... Nobody realized that was happening. GuMiho just sent them in a while ago, and both players were focused in the top left corner. The Vikings can land and maybe even fight the Stalkers, or just target down probes. Either way, they're pretty good. GuMiho's supply is still remarkably low. Obviously, Skillous isn't doing so great himself. The carriers right-clicked on the orbital command. Means the Vikings will be able to take them down. The SCVs fighting the Immortals. There's still Hellbats about the Vikings. And Skillous, I think, has lost any semblance of control in this game. Honestly, GuMiho showing how powerful yet brittle Mech can be. It feels like he was one bad fight away from disaster, but he never quite found himself there. And now, Skillous, he lost any sort of momentum he once had. It was a tough start. He adapted. The carriers, I think, ended up being, I don't know if they were the right call, but I don't think they were the wrong one. Which, yeah, you can puzzle that one out, but... What a game. Again, GuMiho. I have no idea how intended this was. Like, he started out and he saw the Stargate and he's like, alright, we're going to McDonald's. We're gonna Mech Terran great again. And here we are. Yeah, the Cyclone's just ripping through. The spell damage from the mag field lock-ons. The Archons just can't get anywhere close. GuMiho with Mass Cyclone Battle Mech takes on Skillous and takes game one. I do think that is a response to the Stargate. If he was up against Blink Stalkers, like I mentioned, the hardest part of Mech is getting your factories in the first place. If they can seize the means of production, well, you're going to have a bad time. But if you get enough factories up, obviously you can marks out, so. GuMiho. GuMiho takes game one. Thank you. No, it's just 0. We're going to Frost 9. Gas first. I believe GuMiho went gas first last game as well. Like, gas before barracks. Before the supply depot even finishes. Which gives you that quicker factory while still being able to expand. The vulnerability is you're not going to have a Reaper or Marines quite as quick. But obviously you're sacrificing a little bit of that economy. But GuMiho leaving himself with options. The carriers were kind of a crazy call, but they almost worked. I think it was the right call to try to mix it up so much. GuMiho almost didn't know what to do. The mothership, despite seeming like an obvious target for the lock-ons of those Cyclones, ended up surviving for quite a while and really changing the outcome of many of the fights. Just wasn't enough. Those Cyclones are quite expensive. The choice to go for Drilling Claws mines and then just use them as, well, in the most literal sense of mines, as a zoning tool, making it very difficult just to move across the map. Rarely do we see it used quite like that nowadays. Like GuMiho understanding the weakness of both his and his opponent's composition. The weakness being, for Protoss, that if you lose any key part of it, like if you lose the mothership, or you lose your detection, or you don't quite have enough stalkers for anti-air, then it all falls apart. And the weakness for GuMiho is being caught out of position with the wrong unit composition. So, Widow Mines serve as both scouting and map control in that sense. Just having to bring, like in the Brood War sort of style of Dragoons and an Observer chasing down mines across the entire map. Very similar sort of situation. And I mean, in Brood War, I believe Mech is the go-to strategy against Protoss, because flesh is weak and malleable. The closest we'll get to playing Bio is making Hellbats. Actually, I do think... Oh, did he see the Twilight? No. See, I don't know why more players don't do this. Skillous built it so many times, players will do a Reaper wall, and then just... Well, he's going to see the Twilight anyway, so that doesn't really... But it took a little bit more effort. He had to go all the way in the main, and he'll probably lose the Reaper now. That's just disrespectful. It's not Clem, but it infuriating. Cyclone? He wouldn't do it again. He's got a medevac on the way. Looks like a classic GuMiho throw everything you got in a medevac and see what happens sort of build. Ooh, surprise. The tag team. Have you met my friend? You have... Terrans don't have friends. True. They can't live up to my standards. So, okay. Now what? Oh no. Okay. The Reaper Cyclone is up to the north side of the map. The 6 Marine drop is heading into the main. A recall into the main base. And GuMiho just turns around. Blink is not done. And it looks like we're just gonna both back away from this situation entirely. All right, we'll just call it even there. The recall and getting the recall is quite a big deal. Kills off one SCV, but then gets hunted by the Cyclones. Reaper headed out to scout some more, I'm sure. And the Stalker's just hanging. He's got a third base on the way. This is already off to a weird start. It's going to be Bio. GuMiho adding on the extra racks, barracks 2 and 3. And the starport's on the way as well. He's going to move that starport, right? Can't build a reactor there. We saw a lot of add-on switcheroo. There we are. And here, the musical chairs phase of the game, slightly interrupted by the Blink Stalkers, but 2 Cyclones. And, oh, it's drop a clock. Oh, we lock. Oh, no. Both sides dodging shots and lock. The Reaper came back. I'm pretty sure that was a select all army hotkey, though. I would never accuse GuMiho of that. But otherwise, why is the Reaper back here? GuMiho deals with the Blink Stalkers for now. He does not have a third command center on the way. So, it's a bit of an odd scenario. Skillous is going for the brute force approach. The gateway man strategy of just building so many charge lots and so many stalkers that there's truly no way to deal with it. Oh, that's awkward. He scanned the observers, but the Cyclones weren't quite in position for it. The Blake Stalkers able to put on a bit of pressure. Locks on. But, well... The amount of Cyclone Micro doesn't quite pick that one up in time, but here comes GuMiho. He's got the triple threat on the way. That Observer, second scan, finishes the job. Charge now done. Stim combat shield +1 finishing up. But Skillous gonna try to meet him on the field. Before tanks are sieged up, before +1 is done, dodges the Blink Stalkers with the Cyclone. But oh surprise! Almost loses the medevac outright. There goes the clone. And here comes... any of the boys? No. And a charge lock counter as well. Skillous gonna drag the entire Terran army back. Oh no. This is a disaster for GuMiho. He's repairing a bunker with nothing in it, but the War Prism has done exactly what it needed to do and so much more. Just existing at all. GuMiho's third command center is only halfway done. He's down 10 workers. Skillous knows exactly what he has and what he wants to do with it. So GuMiho gonna gamble it all. He loads up 4 medevacs and heads for the main, but there is an observer in place. He knows the map is dark and full of Terrans. So, something like this should very much be expected. 2 robo-bays on the way. Clearly tells you that Skillous is very interested in having a robo-bay done. He's gonna go right through it, right? He's dropping out. GuMiho with a bit of a Hail Mary here. Scans forward. No vision at all. The charge lots. You gotta be a little careful that... Okay, just stims. No cyber core for you. This is a bit awkward. So there's no splash damage. He'll pick up. No, God. Okay, well... I'll expect some... Ooh. Ooh. That is subpar. Not everyone makes it out. The others are pinned back into the corner. Cybercore being rebuilt. He did cancel the second Rebel Bay, not that that's a huge deal. Charge lots streaming into the main base, and GuMiho is losing control of the situation. Third base, forced to be lifted. Dozens of charge lots at the natural. 30-40 supply of bio on the other side of the map. The bunker will fall. Immortals and charge lots, oh my. And the War Prism is still intact. GuMiho supply block. Gonna go for the base trade. The Colossus will not complete. +2 weapons will. We're going into a full-on base trade, though. Force fields, lock-in units. The Zealots will slice them apart. But he actually just straight up killed the pylon before the Colossus. Is he recalling? Where's the War Prism? Repower it! Just do it! Just repower it with the Prism for 1 second! Oh my god! Well, the Colossus will be done. GuMiho somehow brings the supply close to even. The worker count not looking great, but that means the army supply is very dangerous for GuMiho right now. The Robo will be repowered. If he had taken that out, that would have been disastrous for Skillous. That's a lot of Widow Mines. He's got 8 Widow Mines up here. The charge lot's coming in. He's actually zoning out with the mines. There's that you can't actually go up there. The mines just keep finding damage. Colossus comes up. He kills 8 probes. Okay, well, the upgrades are pretty rough. +2 attack, very helpful in taking this out. Observers spotting everything. He has 4 observers pretty much covering the entire center of the map, except for the actual center where his units usually are. Skillous, with the eyes of Skillous here. He knows exactly where GuMiho is and where he wants to go. And he's chasing him home. Another medevac down, kind of trickling into the fray, which is not ideal. The Immortal blasts apart the tank. The Marauders will be all that's left of... Okay, wait a second. This is actually not a great angle at all. That Colossus in a tough spot now. Even the Mule getting in on the action. Another big warp and a charge lots in the main, but that means he's not reinforcing this push. 12 SCVs dead, and GuMiho almost turned it around. but it looks like he's going down this time around. More Marauders eviscerated. GG. Skillous ties things up. GuMiho, not able to find that sort of advantage early. He turns it. He almost threw a ridiculously risky sort of drop. And he needed a massive gamble, because if he just played a standard game from there on out, it does not go well. He almost turns it around with the drop of doom. But at the end of the day, Skillous is able to hold it down. Started flailing a bit there near the end, but GuMiho will fall. 1-1. Hectic series. These two pretty evenly matched, it feels. It's whoever comes into the mid-game with some initiative. Like, whoever's able to get map control off of that first 2-3 bases. GuMiho got completely slapped away. Like, the Blink Stalkers got him. The Marine drop forced a recall. Yeah, cool, great, but you didn't really do anything. He's got a third base up, but just flying away with the medevac is not exactly much more than emotional damage if you have nothing to follow it up. So we see. Going into game 3. Probe will be scouting across. Will he actually go up the ramp this time? I feel like you need to go through the entire main base when GuMiho's involved. Alright, just make sure there are no shenanigans afoot. Probe going to bother the SCVs in the workplace, as is customary. Moving down for the expo. Pulls it out of his fancy backpack, slaps it down. In factory on the way. Meanwhile, Skillous, the Blink Stalker's serving him well. Wouldn't be surprised to see it again. Now, what does GuMiho do? I'd love to see Mech again, but it does feel like it kind of requires them to go Stargate. Against the Blink Stalkers, you're just not going to get your production up. You're just not going to have enough units to ever move out. There's the Twilight. The first Adept actually headed across the map, which means the Reaper will get a kill. Another Adept comes out, almost kills the probe. Well, I don't think he's making out of this one, but I've been wrong about that one before. Oh, takes a pot shot. I think he was trying to click on it. Reapers. Oh. Meanwhile, SCV being chased. Helene comes out. We cancel the shade. He does. Reaper coming back across, and now the early exchanges will continue. Alien, Reaper. Oh, another Reaper. But wait, where are you gonna go? Apparently to the unit's lost tab. That Adept, and the Reaper will survive. He might... will he commit to the shade? Well, he's not gonna make it out anyways. Unless he does. This is already getting... He finally gets it! And what did it cost? Both of his Adepts, so not ideal, but he does get hit. There is Blink on the way. GuMiho, Siege Tank, Medevac. Probably gonna put the Siege Tank in a Medevac. You've seen it before. Here we go. The chauffeur is on the way. And the Hellion came back home to get repaired. Yeah, it'll be sent out again, I'm sure. I never even noticed there's like a flame on the Hellion. Like, you see, obviously it's, well, in this case it's red, but I never even realized I had a flame design on it. Huh. I don't think we have skins set here. Usually not in tournaments because of the observer mods we have set up, but kind of disappointing in my opinion. Dodging Stalker, hello? Blink's not done. That pylon is, oh no. Oh, you can't. Did he just, well, he didn't win, but, oh, this is very bad. Oh, there's only one gate. What? Huh? Well, he's just gonna walk up and kill him, I guess. He's targeting the robo. He's literally just going to kill the robo. And another gate. This is... He blinks on the tank, which will get 2 shots off. Just enough to make it so these stalkers no longer can easily deal with the Marines. Anything less than 4 stalkers and the medevac can potentially just out-heal it. Or pick up the Marines themselves. Well, that was a disaster. GuMiho ends up losing a tank, but he kills a robo, a bunch of stalkers, a pylon. That was more than worth it. 1,000 minerals and 250 gas to 300, 175. There's no way the blink stalkers are going to get damaged out of the other side. GuMiho just shows up, slaps a tank down at his natural, and says, what are you going to do about it? Skillous did take a quick third, and that's part of the reason that this did so much damage. Like, having a third base this early, quite an investment. And, oh wait, now there's more tanks. Oh my. The blink out of the way. The medevac being chased by 1 stalker, but it's not the most ideal stalking. Oh no, 2 more stalkers. The stalker's just everywhere right now, and this is not the sort of army you can come in piecemeal against. Stim will be finishing. I don't know if targeting the medevac is worth the expenditure of these stalkers. And, well... Wow, oh god. The unsurprising yet remarkably effective follow-up GG GuMiho with a decisive victory, sending us directly into our bonus game. Skillous a little too greedy, and GuMiho pulled out a classic tank push. GuMiho versus Shin will be our bonus game today. And similar strategies to what we saw on the same map. Yes, we've added this one. Okay, spoilers, there's battle cruisers. I'm not sure exactly when or how, but there's definitely battle cruisers. So, but congratulations to GuMiho. Taking it 2-1 with an surprisingly dangerous battle mech strat. I will say that Skillous adapted well. I think if Skillous was in a slightly better position going into the third base, GuMiho very well could have died. But, well, here we are. Shin in the top right, GuMiho in the bottom left. For my shout out to my blind viewers. Kind of have to, but can't tell the difference between Terran and Zerg at this point. I have questions. Have you liked and subscribed? End of questions. Spawning pool. You thought we wouldn't see Zerg today, but here we are. Always a little weird to do the anti-spoiler games on a series that goes 3 games, but you gotta keep it guessing. Like, if every time we got an anti-spoiler game, it's because the series is only 2 games. Well, that's a spoiler in and of itself. And also, I told you about consistency. YouTube really loves it if all the videos are similar length. So, Arturus Mensk did nothing wrong. Besides that one planet he murdered. But think about the other planets he saved. According to Mensk. A very similar opener. Besides who skips the Reaper in Terran versus Zerg? GuMiho, apparently. He'll go Reaper against Protoss, but already a completely different style. Did he even SCV scout? No. No. This build is figured out. He hasn't looked outside his base at all. He's gotten the natural, and he's gambling. It's a very calculated risk. It's very unlikely that Shin is doing like a one base roach all in. But if he was, GuMiho would lose the game. All right, there's no bunker, there's no defense. But Shin committing to that blindly would be just as big of a gamble. So we will have our standard 3 base. But something to point out, GuMiho does not have a 3rd command center. He has gone straight for Banshees with Cloak. That means the Banshees with Cloak are going to be like 30 seconds earlier than they would be with a normal 3cc play. That doesn't sound like a lot, but when it comes to building Spore Crawlers in a timely manner and making sure you are ready for any sort of early Terran harass, it's likely that Shin will just not expect it at that time. The timing's going to be just a little bit... Where are you going? Where are you going, GuMiho? You're just gonna walk... You can't go... That's private property! He can't go in there! I know... Brenda, you know the Terrans don't like rules. 5 drones. Incinerated. Well, okay. The key part is that Shin was below 40 drones when this happened. So this is still a dangerous and deadly timing. Killing 5 drones before 40 is better than killing 10 drones at 60. As the economy is still finding its footing, it has not stabilized, and now the Cloak Banshee will be coming in. The Spore Crawler, I don't know if this was spotted, or he's waiting out Cloak. The Queens will see it. Double Armory on the way. GuMiho with... It's going to be Mech. We're going to Mech... Okay, well, this did not work. This is not going well. The major benefit here is that Shin doesn't even have a lair on the way. So this is just going to be super annoying. Repositions a Spore Crawler. Takes advantage of the few moments before it's able to root itself back down. Shin only had 45 drones. 2 more factories on the way. 3rd command center in the wall. And again, the same sort of vulnerabilities, but not nearly as pronounced for Mech in this matchup. Terran versus Zerg. Where getting your factories up and getting your production up and running is a little bit easier, but building the right composition in a timely manner before the Zerg outdoes you is harder. So the more dangerous part for Mech is that like 150 supply timing when the Zerg is maxed out with probably whatever tech they want. Whereas against Protoss, it's just getting to the factories in the first place that's usually dangerous. There's Magfield Accelerator. 2 siege tanks on the way at a time. I imagine it's going to be Cyclones after that. That's just to hold things down. You need to have a couple to make sure the Cyclones and your 3rd base doesn't just get overrun by Zerglings. And Shin has no...
Our forces are under attack.
Are they, Shin? Are your forces under attack? Interesting announcer you got there. We're giving it a moment. We're on the Shin action cam, so we can really get the full of Shin experience. And try to confirm my suspicions. 2 Thors on the way. He's upgrading Magfield, but he's going for... Okay, to the Gumi cam. Alright, Gumi, bro.
You're engaging the opponent. Time to raise your APM.
Shin's APM is at 500. I think
your forces are taking damage. Terrible, terrible damage.
Alright, GuMiho. What is it?
SCV ready. Spore is here. SCV ready.
GuMiho repairing those Banshees. Always appreciate how much GuMiho actually repairs his mech units. Just generic. Maybe he's not on his personal account here, but Hellbats waltzing in as we refocus. The Hellbats incinerating Zerglings. The Banelings coming up, but GuMiho will happily trade minerals for gas. That's an exchange rate that most players will take. 15 more drones on the way as Shin scales up. The Banshees? Wait, how does he have to oh, there's an Overseer. That'll do it. Hellbat's finally taken out by the Hydralisks. 2 more command centers for GuMiho, as he's managed to get 5 factories online, and the Thors are on their way across the map. They got their personal chauffeurs. They tuck their Thor legs up. They're so thick they don't even fit in the medevac, but instead have to be in the cargo bay or whatever. Now, amusingly, Zerglings are quite an effective counter. As the ankle biters. Oh my, he killed the hatchery with the Banshees. It was already softened up by the Hellbats, but the fact that the Banshees just came in and killed it. Those Banshees he's been dealing with for 5 minutes now about. A Spire is on the way. Hydra speed is not done as they achingly slither across the map. And by the time it is, the Banshees will be back home and probably get repaired. More hatcheries on the way. Overlord. Just gonna sit there and take it. As the Viking slowly but surely takes it out. The gold base will be opened up. The rocks, the Thors are abstaining from this. Oh my god, he shot his own Marine! He thought it was a changeling! Well, that's one way to make sure there are no changelings, is kill all your own Marines. I don't know, maybe he didn't think it was a changeling. It was just making sure changelings were spotted in the future. But either way, GuMiho murders his final Marine. Are those Hellbat drops? Wow. GuMiho with one of the oldest mech strategies. Hellbat drops on top of the army. And against Hydras, well, he has to get close enough. That's the hard part. Gonna need to rebuild that barracks so he can build orbital commands. But here comes the boost! It's getting hot! He drops on top and is gonna incinerate the Hydras. He could go into Hellion mode potentially. Smart Servos isn't quite done. He's healing the Hellbats. They have 2-2. Those are very tanky Hellbats. Right now, the Hydras don't even have any attack upgrades. Most of the Hellbats survived that engagement. The Zerg rots have not been taken out because the creep kept them from bleeding out, which is kind of hilarious and may work against Shin. Though a couple incidental tank hits will probably take them down. Hellbats loaded up yet again. Gonna try to body block. You need some medevacs for the Thors. Uh-oh, this is exactly the time I was talking about. When you don't quite have it. Well, the Hellbats are dropping on the back line. More coming up. And actually boxing out for the siege tanks. The upgrades are really coming through, but here are the Vipers. Parasitic Bomb. Gonna knock the medevacs out of the sky. Blinding Cloud yanks a tank into the front where he tanks it down easily. And GuMiho plummets 50 supply right before his fusion core manages to complete. He's gonna go for the battle cruisers. He did just free up a lot of supply. Maybe a little more than he was bargaining for. As now as the Vipers are online and GuMiho is pinned back, it is a very difficult map to attack in directly as Zerg, which is, I think, why we've seen mech on it from GuMiho twice as well, but Protoss, Zerg, and Terran. You know what? Everyone. It's a tough time. The Vipers. Yep, that's one way to solve it. Battlecruiser in production. Two of them. Yamato cannon as well. 3-3. Almost as quick as you get infantry 3-3 from GuMiho. The fleet is being called in by the Admiral. He's built a wall. I love this wall up. I think he realized he needed to rebuild a barracks as well in order to get orbital commands. That's kind of an important one. Roaches being crisped. Corruptors are on the way. Vipers looking for an opportunity. Blinding Cloud could be helpful. Abduct, though. Guarantees the kills. Yanks them in. The tanks on the back line. This positioning, it's very difficult. Now, will he jump the battlecruisers immediately? Or are we going to see them added into the army? Did GuMiho know about the Greater Spire? I'm sure he's anticipating it. He's holding the battlecruisers and Vikings back. There are 9 Broodlords on the way, which means every single corruptor. Oh my. Oh my. It's getting too hot. The Hellbats just immolating the base. Oh, and now there's a Cyclone drop and a battlecruiser. The triple-pronged mech attack timing. He's killed 19 drones. The battlecruiser will go mostly unchallenged. He's building 11 corruptors. The Broodlords are coming across the map, but there's no anti-air supporting them. The SCVs will have to run. The siege tanks will be working against him. And now this is the most precarious timing. He needs to deal with the Broodlords. 2 battlecruisers jump into the fray. Parasitic bomb, but Yamato candidate answer. Knocks the Vipers out of the sky, but that is a lot of Hydras. And he did tactical jump in, which means there's no getting out. The Corruptors will chase it down. The battlecruiser in the main about to take down the Hydraless Den just went unchallenged. 5 Vikings at a time on the way. GuMiho making and lands the Vikings to avoid the Corruptors. What if you could build Vikings in land mode? He's building 5 Thors and 5 Vikings. All right, up against someone formerly named Ragnarok. There's a joke here, but I'm not quite landing it. Unlike the Vikings of GuMiho, I think until the Thors are online, they'll be staying on the ground. The battlecruiser, 8 kills. The Hydras will eventually pin cushion it. It won't be getting out. The Broodlords are closing in. Mass Viking. Yet again. So much utility. But at the same time, Shin is defending back at home. He's restabilizing. GuMiho has 86 SCV. Is that building armor? No. Wow, Broodlords are sad. 10 Broodlords, and the SCVs are just out repairing it. He's trying to kill the SCVs. Here are the Corruptors, but Thors are here. Oh no! The Thors are just pounding the Broodlords into an air-based pulp. Wow, the Broodlords are just gone. 11 SCVs died, which is probably a good thing, to be honest. As GuMiho had far too many of them. The Corruptors will try to spray and then realize they're far too exposed. The siege tanks moving into position. GuMiho! Pounding on that gold base. The extractor's gone. A couple now in range of the hatchery. His army is 15 Vikings, 8 siege tanks, 5 Thors. A true Mech Terran. I want to point something out. Throughout both of these matches, every game against Skillous, and this late game Mech Terran, GuMiho has not built a ghost. He's a purist. The Vikings. Oh, he can't see anything on the ground. But can the Vikings actually challenge the Corruptors in the air? Doesn't matter. He yanks a tank out of the fray. The Blinding Clouds are being exhausted. He's bringing more tanks in from the back. Corrosive Bile wipes out the Thors, but the siege tanks survived. Blinding Cloud doesn't kill him. It just keeps them at bay. The 2 Broodlords in 17 years will take down this planetary fortress, but the siege tanks need far less time to pound their way forward, knocking out the spine crullers, the Vikings wiping the Broodlords out of the sky. The Corruptors moving in, but they too will die. And right now, there's nothing for the Roaches to deal with this. He's making some Ravagers. Are there any Vipers left? No! The Vikings took him out during the fight. And GuMiho, that spread, I can't believe it's not butter. Well, they're so spread out that the Roach Ravager is able to turn it around, but look at the supply. The Hellbats burning through yet again. Hellbats, the real MVPs. As well, Hellbats and Vikings, I think the MVPs of both of these matches. An incredible set. And GG, GuMiho will claim victory with the most... Oh, and he built 2 more... He stayed in the game past when Shin left, and the replay cut off because whoever was observing it left. But he stayed in the game to use the battlecruisers to give Mono Cannon some things. You know, well deserved. You ever done that? Of course you have. You gotta enjoy the battlecruisers while you can. And GuMiho, the greatest enjoyer of them all. And I certainly hope you enjoyed, and it made your day just a little bit better. If you got the means of motivation, it'd be awesome to check out Patreon or YouTube membership. In 2025, we're going for 250,000 subscribers. And that's where we'll start. And we'll go for 300K by the end of the year. Or 1 million. Well, it's a process. But I hear liking and subscribing is still free for now. Thank you to Wardi for putting on so many great games. Make sure to check him out, link below, and support him as well. We really couldn't do most of this without him. And, well, of course, without you. Thank you for watching. Good luck, have fun. I'll see you next time. Thank you, GuMiho, for showing us the way. And I hope you enjoy. Stay chill.